Hello! So today we're going to be looking at how to do a still life drawing of a teddy bear. Your task was to do either a tree, a shoe or a teddy bear. I'm going to show you with a teddy bear how to find the main shapes, how to position them in relation to each other so that they work together to create a lovely still life drawing. Let's go. Oh, all right. So here's my teddy bear here, and I'm going to first of all look at his complete size from his head to the bottom of his foot, his lowest foot. And I'm going to mark on my paper where I want the top of his head to be and where I want that lowest foot to be. So that gives me my workspace that will match my teddy bear. Now, if I have a look closely, I can see that his head takes up about a third of that whole space. So I'm actually going to mark a couple of lines to break that section into thirds. And in the top third, I'm going to draw his head. Now I can see that his head shape is a bit of a funny shape actually. It's almost a circle, but his nose is actually making a slight point on that bottom corner. So when I draw my rough shape, remember at this stage it doesn't have to be perfect because we can make it better later. I'm going to have it so it's got a slight point over in that corner. Now you can see I'm drawing very, very lightly, so I'm not going to rub out any lines yet. I will do that at the end when I've got all my basic shapes worked out. Now looking at the next section, which is his body. His body is about the same size as his head, so I'm going to notice that his tummy starts at this nose point here on this side, and on this side it's actually got his arm in front. So we're actually going to I'm just going to make a vague shape there, and we'll put the arm over the top in a minute. So coming from about the nose, I'm going to fill the whole of the next third space with another rough shape. So there's the rough shape for his tummy. Now I want to do this arm because his arm is definitely a prominent shape. You can see it's like a sausage shape. So when I draw it on my piece of paper, I want to match that sausage shape. I've got it coming from the side of the head, and it actually comes all the way down. If you have a look, that hand comes all the way down to where his leg starts, right down here. So I'm going to put in that end, and I'm going to draw that sausage shape up there, and his arm is quite wide, so I'll join that down there. Now you can see I've got this tummy mark here, and I don't want that in my final drawing, but I'm going to leave it there for now because I'm going to do all my erasing towards the end when I've got my final shapes sorted out. So there is my first arm shape. Now having a look at the other arm over here, it's sticking out sideways, and this space here, this is called negative space, and you can see it's sort of a square shape. The negative space is where the teddy bear isn't. So coming from the armpit straight out, I need to have this negative space needs to be drawn on my teddy bear. Okay, so actually that probably needs to be a bit lower. So I'm not going to rub this out. This line I don't want to have, but I'll get rid of that later. Instead, this is going to be the top of that foot, this foot here. So there's your negative space shape there. This hand comes out. Oh, I'm going to run out of paper. That's okay. If you run out of paper, you run out of paper. Just deal with it. Okay, so there's his other arm that's poking out, and I can put a little hand on the end there because he's got that shape there. Here's the space where his foot goes. Now his foot doesn't go all the way down to the bottom of the bear. This one does, this one doesn't. So I'm going to stop that foot short, just bring it up to get that oval. Now you'll notice that I've found an oval shape for that foot, and you can't really see much leg behind it at all. So it's mainly just the bottom of his foot there. I'm going to put his foot pad in just to make that clearer. And then I'm going to do his other foot. Now his other foot is exactly next to the other one, but it goes for a bit longer. We've got this oval shape here on an angle, And that does go right down to that bottom line that I originally drew when I was trying to map out what size my bear was going to be. So there is that oval shape for his foot, and then the rectangle that joins his legs, or his foot, to his tummy. Okay, now this hand here should be touching the top of this leg pretty much, so I've done very well there. Now coming up to his face, I can see his ears are on the side of his head, and they are little half circles. On this side, it's a little bit behind, like that. Now looking at his eyes are actually below the halfway mark between the top of his head and his chin. So I'm going to draw a halfway mark, and then I'm going to draw his eyes below it, because that's where they are when we're looking at him. Now this teddy bear has some seams coming from the eyes to the ears, so I'm just going to draw those in to get an idea. He also has a seam going across the top of his nose, and then his nose is a little triangle, just like that, with a little mouth. Now, looking at this, my chin is way too low compared to what it looks like in real life. So I'm actually going to adjust the size of his head a little bit to bring that up, which means then I need to bring his tummy up and his arm up. Now he's wearing a scarf, so I'm going to draw the scarf in on my teddy bear. I can't really see it where the arm is. That gives you a bit of an idea. And he has a seam up his tummy as well. So you can see I've found the main shapes. I've drawn them in relation to each other. Then I can go back and rub out these lines that I drew very lightly at the start that I actually don't want in my finished picture. So I've actually finished my sketch completely before rubbing out those extra lines. Don't rub out as you go along or you'll never get there. Much better to wait until the end. Make the lines you want to keep a little bit darker and rub out the lines that you don't want once you've done that. And there's my picture of my teddy bear. Enjoy.